Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Go.
Hey, Alvin, why don't you hit that CD with some Windex? Respect the man. Welcome back. I'm Jim Rome. All right, so you heard my open, and I set the tone for how I want to handle this. Now, knowing a lot of you, you're going to do what you do regardless of what I say, which I'll respect. No matter what I say, you're going to do what you're going to do because you had your blueprint coming in. You had your plan. But I'm here to tell you I'm not going to make a mockery of this or turn this into a circus or have it be a feeding frenzy. Now, that said, I need to own what we've done in the past. And in the past, we've had some fun at Mike's expense. We have the adult alarm. We have some parodies. I've certainly burned on Mike in the past. I had a television burn on JRAB about a year ago where Mike showed up as kind of a Unabomber ninja at an MMA event. Thought that was pretty bizarre, of all places. Who knew? I didn't expect to see Michael Jackson at an MMA event, much less geared up as the Unabomber and ninja. But again, I'm asking you to see the big picture. And we're talking about a creative genius. We're talking about an international icon. A guy that when he was on top, there was nobody like him except maybe the Beatles. That big, that good, that prevalent, that important. Then he bought their catalog. I mean, one of the great business moves ever. Kept him going for quite some time financially, I'm sure. I mean, as it turns out, that was the big asset in the portfolio. I also mentioned that there's been a response everywhere, but especially in the world of sports. And the news of his passing was as shocking as it was surreal, and it did rock the world of sports, just like it did the entire international community. For instance, here's a sampling of some athletes' tweets after the news broke. Andy Roddick, I thought, said it best. Roddick broke away from Wimbledon for this tweet. Quote, "Oh my Lord, Michael Jackson died, R.I.P., sad and surreal. Regardless of what you think of him, he was completely revolutionary and will be missed." End quote. Dwight Howard didn't really care about either Hedo Turkoglu or Vince Carter, his new teammate, or what they were doing at the draft. Dwight Howard could not stop thinking about Mike. Quote, "I am very shocked about MJ. I have every song he ever put out. I am shocked and sad. Today isn't a good day to talk about trades. Really not. I'm sorry." End quote. Bernard Berrien summed it all up in just 3 words. Very economical and very succinct. And I quote, "Damn, not Mike." Packer linebacker Nick Barnett just blurted out this tweet, and I quote, "What the expletive? Michael Jackson just died? What?" All capitals. Multiple question marks, all caps. You know, like I said, he certainly was complicated and conflicted and had some demons and had some issues, and we did have some fun at his expense. And yes, I was the guy behind the adult alarm, although I didn't make that up out of nowhere. I mean, there were reports and allegations that he had an alarm outside his bedroom, outside his master bedroom. But again, the guy was an international icon. And our grandkids will be rocking Billie Jean, which I bumped in with, and beat it. The king is dead. Long live the king. The other thread is, what are you going to do, Rome? How are you going to make it through your show? The last commercial break, we had over 800 emails. I mean, I don't know what's more surreal. His passing or the fact that his passing would generate more emails than anything in sports ever could on my show. I mean, how many of you thought yesterday when you heard that news? First thing that flashed through your mind, damn, what's Rome going to do? That's weird. That's pretty surreal unto itself. An international pop icon, the king of pop passes, and one of the first things that flashes through your mind is, what's my favorite sports talk show host going to do? That's weird. A few of you have said that you've taken the day off of work to listen to this show. Not to watch CNN, not to get in front of the TV and watch MTV. A few of you have already emailed to say, I took today off so I can listen to your show, Rome. It's not to smack off. You know, you didn't take today off to hear my thoughts on the NBA draft last night. You took today off of work to listen to a sports talk show talk about Jacko. Really weird and really surreal. This text says, very classy open, Jim. Thank you for that. I know you had your Jacko issues, but thank you for that respect. Look, of course, I'm going to separate these two things. Personally, I thought he was a pretty bizarre figure. Creatively, artistically, the guy was in a class by himself. You know, you can say what you want about him personally, and I certainly have, but artistically, what can you say about the guy? He was a genius. The word genius gets thrown around way too often, but in this case, it was dead on. A pioneer, revolutionary, a creative genius, an extraordinary talent, an extraordinary performer. A guy that changed the industry, and a guy that impacted millions and millions of lives worldwide. A number of you are also concerned about Phil Guidry. Trial by fire. This one says, Rome. No! Sincerely, P. Guidry. So Guidry is not only screening out the text, but he's texting me. Time for his true initiation and baptism by fire. Welcome to the jungle, baby. Eric near Portland. 1-800-636-8686. Again, we'll talk about some other things. I've got Joe Thomas coming up next hour. I have Roy Malacca coming up in hour number 3. A few other stories I want to get to. Best athlete apology ever after a meltdown. Giovanni Soto tested positive for herb and had a perfect apology, which I'll get to. Some crazy golfer flashed his teeth. Said he had a moral obligation to destroy those who were taking too long. Try and get there a little bit later on. Soccer mania. Got a big game coming up this weekend. How about Brazil? How about Brazil winning the way they did yesterday? At least the goal that iced it wasn't very ridiculous. All that more. 1-800-636-8686. So, and again, I'm just going to say this. I'm just looking for balance. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm not going to ignore what I've said and what I've done at Jacko's behest in the past. I need to own that, and I will. But at the same time, I'm looking for it to be fair and balanced. I'm not going to turn this thing into a circus. In terms of the adult alarm, we'll see. Maybe as one final tribute to the king. We'll see. All right, let's go to the phones. First stop today, we go to Houston. Allie in Houston. Allie, what's up? How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. You?
First, I'd like to say, man, I'm a long time listener. First time I had the courage to call you. I just wanted to say, man, today, before I got to work today, I listened to you every day at work here. And I was kind of nervous on how you were going to handle this. And as a long-term listener, if you wouldn't have handled it properly, I was ready to shut you down and not listen anymore. Again, I know jokes are going to be said, but I think you're handling it very well right now. You know, in due time, you know, the jokes and all that can start, but right now, it's not a time for it, and I think you're doing a very good job. And the Chad call, I mean, that has to stay, man. You can't shut that down. I mean, that's classic. If anything, that's giving Mike props as opposed to knocking him down. And thanks for the call, Rome. And one day I'll come back with some snacks. Go Houston. Out.
You know what? I appreciate that phone call. Alex, thank you very much. Yeah, I understand that. And I'm not handling it, obviously, this way because I'm afraid of losing listeners. I'm handling it this way because I feel like this is the right way to handle it. And that Chad call, I agree with you. I played that because I felt that in that sense, that was a tribute to the King. Without the King, we don't have that call, and that was one of the most famous moments and one of the most famous calls in the history, or JD, I should say, about Chad. One of the most famous calls in the history of the program. You're right, and in due time, I'm sure the reaction will be a little bit different. I'm just saying, I'm looking for to be fair and for it to be balanced. And I'm not going to compromise what I've said. I'm not going to be a hypocrite about this. I'm not going to come right out here and say, you know what, you come in and you respect the King or you don't come at all. When we've all had some fun at his behest over the years. That make me a hypocrite, be disingenuous. But he did pass, and I'm just saying, let's acknowledge both sides of it. There are two sides of this. A polarizing figure, in kind of a jacked up personal life. He had some issues, legal and otherwise, but he was a creative genius. Brilliant guy. We sold millions and millions and millions of records. All right, we'll come back. 1-800-636-8686. Who will ever forget this one? Yeah, that's my whole point. When I think about Michael Jackson, I think about the way he used to look. I think about the way he looks right now. I think about the unbelievable videos and shows he put on. The fact that he had a record with 7 hit singles on it. I think about him at that MMA event. I think about this song. I think about JD. I think about it all. It all kind of rushes over me. Stay tuned. We'll be coming back with more. Phone lines are wide open. Yeah, let me tell you, if you hear this song at a wedding, you're on that dance floor. Even if you don't want to be on that dance floor, you're on that dance floor when you hear that song. You go to the bar, you go to the dance floor. The combination of the bar and mic is going to put you on that dance floor. It's like Pavlov, right? Tell me you're not going on the dance floor if you hear this song at a wedding. You hear old school Jacko, you're out of that chair no matter how lame the wedding is, and you're dancing. You might be dancing in your office right now. Feel free, man. Move. It'll help you, it'll help me. It's going to help all of us. I'm telling you, I'm not going to take this place. I'm not going to take this to a dark place that some of you want me to. I'm going the other way. I'm celebrating life. All right, stay tuned. We'll come back. Joe Thomas next hour. Roy McLaughlin the third hour. I'm Jim Rome. You've got to be starting something, clone.
You're listening to The Jim Rome Show.
Ooh,